Hey there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Degrassi poll video. And this video was to do with characters who made it through 100 episodes of Degrassi. Who was the best character? When I did some research on Manny Santos, because I was going to do a video about the best foreign-born Degrassier, what ended up happening was that I found out that Manny was one of 16 people who hit 100 episodes in the Degrassi universe. And that intrigued me. And I said, I could put the foreign born ones in a different video later. But then I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. Who's the best character to appear in 100 episodes? And it grabbed me. Like, I decided to do a poll. One poll had 6 and 2 polls had 5. So what I easily did was the top 2 in each of the 3 polls got to be in the final 6 for the final poll. And then the other guys, the guys 3 and 4 would actually be in the B poll from 7 to 12. And then, of course, the other guys would be unheard of. So to make 100 episodes of Degrassi is big. But remember, Degrassi had an era for a few seasons, like from seasons 10 to 13, that they would do it like a telenovela and basically put like 30 to 40 episodes a season. So that's why people can easily get to 100 episodes. There were some that didn't get to 100 episodes by cheating through the telenovela route, and some that did. So anyway, I'm going to tell you the 16 characters who were in the top, who hit 100 episodes. Yeah, so here are the people who are not in the top 10. First of all was Jimmy. I was actually shocked that Jimmy didn't get enough votes to be in the A or B tier. So Jimmy hit 100 episodes. He was around from seasons 1 to 7. You got to know that who knew Jimmy was going to turn into the rap mega god Drake? Snake was also on the list, making 100 episodes. Well, it's easy if you're the second producer and then you're basically a teacher / principal to hit 100 episodes. But the fact of the matter is that Snake hit 100 episodes. And surprisingly, he didn't get enough votes. Tristan made 100 episodes. He was in from season 11 or 12 to the end, and it was weird. Next Class was 4 seasons of 10 episodes. A normal season would have been like 20. But yeah, Tristan hit 100 episodes, and of course Tristan was really well hated. I can understand why people didn't want him. And also Jenna hit 100 episodes, thanks to the Degrassi fandom page. I didn't know she did 100 episodes. I know she was with Casey and she had her problems, but wow, I didn't believe that. I was actually shocked that Anya and Holly J didn't hit 100 episodes. No, Anya did. No, Holly J did. Anya didn't. So anyway, and here are the 2 characters who missed the top 10. They were in the B tier, but they missed out. That being Drew and Sig. Drew was around starting season 10, and he was till season 14. He got knocked out of the Degrassi circle after finally. He graduated, and of course he got in trouble because Pill didn't like how he took stuff from the school and the security codes, and basically wanted to make sure that Drew had an example. He wanted to make an example out of Drew for people who dare cross her path the next year. Unfortunately for her, she got booted. Now, I think the school board was going to get rid of Pill anyhow if Simpson complied, and basically the investigation of Simpson turned out that he was cleared, which he was cleared. But Pill, I think, was trying her best to make sure everyone that she did a good job so she could be principal at Degrassi. Unfortunately, though, pissing off Drew also meant pissing off Audra. And Audra took it to her school board higher-ups, and that may have got Pill out. And Sig, well, I can understand why Sig didn't get into the top 10. I mean, he seemed to be a jerk. Sig almost seemed like he was going to be around for season 12 just to aggravate Cam and basically admit his guilt about putting Cam in a suicidal position, and then basically he was off the show. But no, he stayed on after season 12. He was in a gang and all that. Maya took affection on him. Sig, every time that Maya was with someone else, was angry and tried to prevent Maya from dating anyone but him. But when Sig was with Maya, it seemed like Sig didn't really care much for Maya. I think Sig just wanted Maya for the attention to all that. I call him the Veronica, the Saint Veronica, who only wanted Maya, aka Archie, because someone else had her. That's Betty. Or maybe Betty would be like Miles or Cam. All right, so here we go. Number 10 is Connor. Now, I wish Connor was in the top 25 Degrassi characters, but I didn't feel like he was a top 6 guy, so that's why I didn't put him in the list. But the fact of the matter is that Connor was pure and all that. Season 8, he came in with the gifted class. He had some quirks and all that. Principal Shepard blew up at him. I mean, I understand because, Connor attacked Allie for confronting him over the pencil thing, so he gets expelled. And then Claire helps Connor deal with his issues. And yes, Claire's on this list too. But anyway, yeah, Connor had Asperger's syndrome. And, he was smart, but he had social anxiety and social cue problems. That did speak to me as an Aspie. If you search my videos, you see a popular one. I think it's popular, called Asperger's and Me, Connor's case study in Degrassi. I don't know the title, I forgot. But regardless, no, Connor and Me, a study in Asperger's from Degrassi and personal things. But yeah, Connor had problems. He was doing a wardrobe app for a contest, but he went into girls' dressing rooms and would steal stuff and all that. That's kind of creepy and all that. Snake had no choice but to kick him to another school that helped him deal with his urges, and it worked. Connor was a happy guy. And Connor was with Jenna, and that was nice to see them in season 14. A very undervalued and underrated relationship in my mind. And Connor seemed to be a good person. And then at number 9, speaking of Claire, she made it to number 9. I don't blame people for why Claire only got to be number 9. So, yeah, people really hated on Claire. She was full of drama. But the writers also are to fault. They wanted Claire to have a lot of storylines that she can go through. Like, having cancer, being groped by a boss, having to deal with bullies wanting to steal her, like Fitz trying to steal Claire from Eli, Claire and Eli's drama and all that. Did you flip a switch? Claire being with Drew, Claire getting pregnant, miscarrying the baby, having Pill inform her about stuff, Claire going off on a tangent, losing her student privileges. Evil. Claire losing Casey to Jenna. Yeah, they wanted Claire to go through all of those storylines and all that. I think they built her up like Emma and said that, Emma went through this stuff. Why can't Claire do it? And, Claire did her best and didn't fully recover from a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was hard. Phantom. And number 8 is the other protagonist, Emma. So Emma got in 100 episodes easily. I mean, she was from seasons 1 to 9. Claire was sporadic in 6 and 7 before coming to regular in 8 and then ended at 14. So, yeah, Connor was from 8 to 14 himself. So anyway, Emma was the OG. The basic premise of Next Gen was to make her a star because, last we saw of Emma, she was a 2-year-old in Degrassi High dealing with Spike. Spike trying to find a father figure for Emma. Then, Emma grew up and went to Degrassi Community School. She hung up with Liberty, JT, and Toby. And, Emma got a lot of storylines. Season 1 dealing with her friend being on the cheerleading squad and thinking cheerleading is sexist. Mistaking Liberty for being comforted by Armstrong about her dyscalculia as something bad and all that. Like, it actually did have a connection with Emma being catfished in the first ever NG episode. And then you got yourself, the next one was, season 2, she had to deal with Snake getting into her life by dating Spike and then eventually marrying her, and Emma's feelings about that. Emma almost ruining the wedding by trying to help Spike not abort her new sibling. She had deals with Sean's problems. She had to deal with Raditch being a dick in season 2 to her genetically modified foods thing. But Emma did have issues. Like, it was partially Emma's fault, but like 25% Emma's fault, 75% Raditch's fault. And then season 3, she had fights with Manny over sexualization, and they broke up as friends. And Emma dating Chris probably was a way to get back at Sean for leaving her to join the Candy Bandits, and Emma having to deal with her stepfather having cancer and all that. So she was busy trying to not to worry about this. And season 4, she ruined herself and her friendships by being petty over Chris dating Liberty. That led her to be easily influenced to be in Paige's clique to try to destroy Rick, but Emma thinks that they were not taking the cause well enough, and Paige got and yelled at Paige, but Paige may have had a hand in having Emma only be welcomed by the Quiz Bowl team of Rick, Toby, and Heather, and then Jimmy came in. Emma almost got shot at by Rick for spurting him in Rick's mind. Emma having a zombie phase, getting gonorrhea, but she got past it, and somehow in some way that made her better. But by season 5, the writers took her into a different direction, a glow up phase, which kind of sucked because Emma was with Peter, who had hurt her best friend Manny. If this was like seasons 1 to 3, Emma, she would never have done that. But yeah, she just wanted a boyfriend. And then, she got back together with Sean after Peter was jealous of Sean. Sean came back in the picture somehow. Emma had to deal with JT being stabbed steps from her house and upset that Manny refuses to talk about the stabbing because, Emma had problems. And Emma probably had to talk to a professional, forced to talk to a professional. And then, of course, Sean leaves for the army. Emma's all by herself. She has to deal with Davy, and she has to deal with Snake being falsely accused of stuff by Darcy. And, she goes to college. She becomes a little clingy towards Manny and Liberty. And when Manny and Liberty go their separate ways, like Manny leaves to be an actress, Liberty goes to pre-law. Emma's by herself, and she basically is chasing friends instead of grades because she doesn't want to be alone. And that's fair enough. I mean, her boyfriend's kind of sucked. So yeah, Emma was decent. Number 7 is Paige. Paige was a very simple girl. She was the sassy girl, and a lot of people probably think that she is Heather Sinclair and all that, like multiple personalities. I don't. Paige had a clique that, was cool and all that, but unfortunately, she did push Hazel and Terry into the clique and forced Hazel and Terry to choose between her and Ashley after Ashley got in trouble for ecstasy things. Paige bullied Hazel and Ashley to still there, and Hazel and Terry, pardon. Yeah, she had a decent clique and all that, but she seemed to be a little bossy. She got raped in season 2 by Dean. Ashley still had some anger towards Paige for forcing Hazel and Terry to choose Paige over Ashley. But Ashley helped Paige out. Paige did not get a happy ending to her problems with the rape. Season 4, we finally find out she gets some answers. She gets a court date, but unfortunately, lack of evidence ruins Paige. Paige decides to crash Spinner's car into Dean's car and takes the blame for it, saying that sometimes good people do bad things. I'm going to confess. She also had a deal in season 4 with the fact that Spinner had goo eyes for Manny when Paige was working to pay Spinner back for the car damage. And then, she ends up having to deal with Rick's problems and dealing with Emma and probably calling Emma a hypocrite and basically may have pushed Emma away from people. And then, she had to deal with the fact that someone must have told her that, Rick had a gun, and then Paige probably put 2 and 2 together thinking that he was going to shoot B. But she had her own problems. She had to deal with Mr. Olander, a student teacher, and she was defending him for some reason. I don't know why. Probably some kind of payoff in the end. But, Olander admitted that Paige could still be with Olander because they're not student teacher anymore. But he dumps Paige, and Paige, for some strange reason, without warning, decided to turn towards lesbianism and be with Alex. That didn't work out because of the class system and all that. Paige just didn't have it going for her. And then in the Degrassi Goes Hollywood movie, she's basically portrayed as nothing more than a personal assistant to a reality star who ends up getting a lead role in the Kevin Smith movie by accident. And basically, she ends up like a diva. She gets kicked off the show. And Maddie wants to get her role back. But, and Paige helps Maddie get the role. And, turn Paige into a terrible character assassination. All right, so number 6. I guess I didn't do the numbers. Why? I don't know. So number 6 is Ollie. Ollie was one of the people who got through with the telenovela things. She was around from seasons 8 to 14. So yeah, she graduated alongside everyone else. Ollie had her share of problems, especially at the start. She was Sav's little sister. She was sexualizing herself to Johnny and Bruce the Moose. Andrew, and she ended up paying the price for it. I mean, her parents were very conservative Muslims, in a sense. And she just, she was forced to do a lot of stuff around the home while Sav got to lounge. Double standard, but some religions, you know. So anyway, Ollie runs away after her family refuses to believe her on anything. It got to a tipping point. So she finds Johnny DeMarco, hides out with him, but Johnny tells Ollie that you can't run away from your problems because, Johnny had to deal with his friend stabbing JT in the aorta in the Lakers Degrassi feud. So Ollie goes back. Ollie makes a concentrated effort to do better, but she ends up being with Leo, who's very abusive towards her. And why she's protecting Leo, I don't know. But Ollie basically forces Leo back to France, doing the right thing. And then she goes into biology at Cambridge, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, she learned a lot herself. Number 5 is Eli on the list. So Eli got some good numbers, though, too. I think Eli was a decent character. He was introduced in season 9, or was it 10? I can't remember. I think it was 10. And then he went through to season 14. So Eli was a year older than Claire because he graduated a year before Claire because Eli was at Columbia when Claire was in New York still as an undergrad. So anyway, Eli was a decent person. He drove a hearse. He was dark and mysterious and all that. Claire and Eli had some drama within themselves. And Eli wrote a few plays that didn't seem to go over so well, but he got better and he matured. I mean, let's not forget that Eli was the one who found Cam's body in the greenhouse. Oh no, did I do that wrong? Ah, shoot, I did do it wrong. Well, it doesn't matter. So anyway, Eli was a decent character. All that. He was the one that found Cam's body in the greenhouse, as I said. And either he hung himself, he slashed himself, or my personal theory is he probably drank some garden chemicals and looked terrible. I think he drank chemicals and then he went to hang himself and all that. Because I spent a summer a couple years ago dealing with garden center and toxicity of chemicals. So yeah, so he went through PTSD. Thank God his dad and Principal Simpson helped him through it. He seemed to mature and all that by season 14, and he was okay. All right, so number 4 is Maya. Now, Maya was well liked. She appeared in season 12 all the way to season 18. So she was from 12 to the bitter end, if you will, and was the highest rated person who lasted till season 18. Not too many people lasted on those lists lasted to season 18. I think in the top 10, I think she's the only one. Tristan would have been the only other one to have 100 episodes and be there at the bitter end, but no. So Maya was a cello virtuoso that kind of had 2 boys chasing her, Cam and Sig. She was with Sig. Cam wanted her, but Sig got Cam's whole dander up, and basically Maya refused to help Cam out. Although Cam did apologize to Maya for everything, and actually took Maya's stuff out and wanted to give it back to her in front of the school, but Sig ruined things by saying Cam should leave Maya's life. Jealousy much? And, Cam hung himself. Maya seemed to be withdrawn and basically saying he should not have killed himself. Simple as that. I would have helped him. And it was shocking that Maya would do this, and people were pressuring her to do something. But then Maya blasted, and her family was upset that she was sexualizing herself. And Maya said that, she was upset because, Cam broke up with her over text. Cam broke up with me, and I'll never be happy again. Jeez, Maya, you're so dark. Because that whole Cam thing never went away. It kind of did go away after season 14 when she helped Miles deal with her dad inadvertently. And of course, pissing off her mom and a cop saying that, it's fine you want to protect him, but you're putting yourself in danger. Maya had to be told that. Maya was trying not to have, the Cam situation happen again with Miles because it reminded her of Cam. She could have said his name and people might have gotten a little sympathetic, but no, she didn't. And she cost herself dearly. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. Yeah, so Maya, went through next class and had a lot of problems. She became a feminist. She was targeted by Hunter for ruining the gaming club. Thankfully, Miles prevented Hunter from doing anything that he regretted. And Maya seemed to be fine. She was with Sig, good relationship, and then she was in a bus crash. She started having dark thoughts and wanting to die and be with Cam, her one true love, and all that. Although she didn't say his name, it was implied she was wanting to be like Cam. And she attempted to kill herself by taking pills and sleeping on the bus. But she fails, and she thinks she's doing something else, so she might as well jump off the roof. But then the pills kick in, and she gags. And thankfully, Sig and Esme find her and protect poor Maya. Maya starts to get better. She ends up being with Sig at the prom by accident in season 18. And when Esme pops in the picture, Maya thinks she's doing something wrong. But Grace protects Maya from herself, and Maya seems to be happy and going to California with Sig. Number 3 is Holly J. I really hate how people like Holly J more than Emma and Maya and Claire. It's probably just a thing that the 3 main protagonists just piss off people so much they'll go for Holly J. Sorry, but that's the way I feel. So anyway, Holly J was the sister of Heather Sinclair, and unlike Heather, she was seen. She was in season 7 through 13, I think. I don't know when Holly J dropped off. I think it was season 12. But anyway, Holly J seemed to be very much a feminist bully. Feminist. She was an A-type. She basically put Anya like a lapdog and all that. And, Holly J was ruthless. It took a cyberbullying thing for season 9 for her to calm down in a sense. And she almost got shot at in season 9 at the dot, I think. And, she got kind of a redemption arc. She started being less demanding, even though in season 10 that she and Sav kind of ruined things for the students with their Vegas night prom thing, and, they wanted to get it on. It was weird that Holly J and Sav were accepted by Sav's parents instead of Sav and Anya. And all that. But the fact of the matter is, Holly J was better. Unfortunately, Holly J's A-type, like the go type, ruined her because she ended up getting sick and needed a new kidney. Her birth mother, after finding out she was adopted, her birth mother wanted $20,000. Holly J's like, you can't ask for that money for a kidney, it's illegal. But Holly J's birth mother said, I have 2 kids to deal with myself, and I have to recover for a while. How am I going to, put food on the table for them? But thankfully, Fiona, in an attempt to woo Holly J, I think Fiona was mad that Holly J was going after Declan. I think Fiona wanted Holly J to herself. And all that. So Fiona buys it for Holly J, probably trying to get Holly J's affection. Buys a wedding dress off of Holly J, off the mother, so that the $20,000, and so Holly J could get her kidney. Kind of stupid, don't you think? But the worst part is Fiona never told Holly J how she thought about her. Probably thinking that Holly J would be freaked out. Anyway, number 2 is Spinner. Obviously, Spinner was number 2 in the good characters poll. And whoever was number 1 was number 1 in the good people poll, obviously. So, yeah, so Spinner, was a bit of a bully. He was friends with Jimmy. He was an antagonist in a sense. Not the worst, but he was weird. Season 4 was when he was at his absolute worst. He ended up dumping Paige off for Manny. That's one thing. And the second thing is that, you know, he freaking decides to be on the side. Well, his pitches clicked to try to get rid of Rick, which is fine, but he went to the bitter end. People dropped off at bullying Rick, but he, Jay, and Alex were the main antagonists at the butt end with the paint and feathers thing. Spinner, for some reason, decides to brag to Jimmy about his so-called good deed. And then, Spinner gets in trouble with Raditch, and then Spinner says Raditch knows, and then Jay helps Spinner out, try to alleviate his guilt by blaming Jimmy for everything, thinking that Rick and Jimmy are going to have a falling out. But Rick shoots Jimmy and nearly kills Ella. Spinner realizes everything, puts two and two together, and wants to tell the truth to the police. Jay says, other outcome, he isn't your best friend anymore. Jimmy survives. Spinner is racked with guilt and didn't visit him in the hospital. He should have, maybe. It would have been good for him. But no, he didn't want to see Jimmy in that way, and he knew that he would probably confess to his crimes. So unfortunately, the school finds out because Spinner tells Jimmy the truth about everything. What happened in the bathroom. So, of course, Spinner gets shamed by the school. Jimmy gets mad at him. Spinner decides to take the high road and tell on himself, and Jay, for that matter, for the paint and feathers thing. He gets expelled, rightfully so. He almost burns the school because he wanted to come back. But no, the school doesn't want to help him. Jay saves him somehow. And then Spinner in Season 5 was allowed to come back and decided to come back to better himself. He breaks off with Jay because he figures that Jay was the cause of his troubles. So Spinner went with Darcy, the friendship club, trying to get better. Spinner dumps off the friendship club because of their treatment of Marco. And, of course, Spinner wants to make sure everyone talks to him and all that. He gets Jimmy to talk to him at the end of Season 5. It worked. Spinner did a redemption song, and he needed the redemption song. And he was happy with himself. But he did it. So, yeah, Spinner had testicular cancer. We all cheered for him when he got over it. Spinner seemed to be a good guy. I mean, a little misplaced. And, he married Emma. That was weird. And, of course, number 1 is Manny. She was cool to the touch. She wanted to sexualize herself even though she was very young. I think the actress who played her was actually younger than what Manny was supposed to be. So that was kind of creepy. But regardless of what happens, Emma and Manny had an on-again, off-again friendship that seemed to be weird and all that. Manny just wanted a boy, would chase boys like JT, Sully, let's not forget Sully, Craig, and all that. Manny and Craig were having an on-again relationship. Manny gets impregnated by Craig. Manny decides to get an abortion because she just can't handle having a kid at her age and all that, and her family would probably ship her to the Philippines in a convent. Fortunately, though, Manny's mom refuses to have Manny shipped off. And basically, they don't tell Manny's dad about the abortion. So Manny gets the abortion. She does have Emma to deal with, who is not really happy with the anti-abortion. But Manny is shocked when Emma actually protects her in front of Craig, even though that Emma is pro-abortion. But I think Emma probably figured out that there was a way to, have a win-win situation. Say that Manny is her friend and is happy with the fact Manny was her friend, and still be pro-abortion because it's a woman's right to choose, and that's the way I go. That's my stance. The woman has a right to choose, and that's the story. The woman has to choose through the stuff. It's not up to the guy to try to pressure her into abortion. That's my stance. So anyhow, Manny seemed to be great. She was very good-natured. She got booted from her house in Season 5 because of her acting. I don't think her dad found out about her topless drunk video to Peter. But yeah, Manny stayed with Emma for a while, and then once the JT stabbing happened, she got to go home. She should have had some retribution. Manny should have talked to Emma. About the situation, because Emma, I think, wanted to talk to Manny and didn't want to trust a professional, which she was probably forced to do. But yeah, Manny and Emma were tight friends, and then Manny ends up being with Jay, which ticked me off, but, Case of Rasa. So she became an actress. She was fine, and Manny being Manny. What else can be happening? So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeff.